one. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
One step closer to one nation, one poll. Mega political face-off over simultaneous polls. Is India closer to major electoral reform? Debating tonight at 9 p.m.
From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
The debate at 9, presented by Amity University, powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Acco Health Insurance, Century Ply, Club Prime, PolicyBazaar.com, and JK Tire.
Well, hello and welcome, viewers. I am Aishwarya Kapoor and you're watching the debate. Yes, Ordnov is not here tonight, but he's going to be back very soon, tomorrow itself. And on the debate, let's ask the opposition tonight that what are they scared of? The only thing they are dreaming for the last 6 to 8 months is how to basically defeat this man. That is Narendra Modi and the party that is the BJP. They have tried everything, and as it's said in Hindi, Sam Dam Dand Bhed, they've tried everything by the book or even over it. But will they be able to succeed? Because prior to 24, there are going to be not one, but 3 semi-finals. Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan. And it's going to be tough as hell for both. But let's find out, because till now, the opposition is still said to be stuck on that 5-day session and the one nation, one poll. They are still stuck there. So let's find out tonight that what's the real issue. But first, the headlines. We'll come to the headlines, but debate number 1, viewers. Tonight, is the opposition still stuck on one nation, one poll? At least that's the perception they are giving, because they say that they are ready for 24, but really, are they? And how ready are they? Let's find out. Debate number 2. The Canadian president Justin Trudeau completely cornered after Jaishankar's strong message at UNGA. That's big debate at 10. Debate number 2, viewers. And BJP Vice President rips through Trudeau on Khalistani terror. Exclusive conversation at 10:30. Jay Panda. Let's have the headlines first. India closer to one nation, one poll. All stakeholders to submit suggestions to Kovind-headed panel. External Affairs Minister
must be countenanced that political convenience determines responses to terrorism, extremism, and violence. Similarly, respect for territorial integrity, and non-interference in internal affairs cannot be exercises in cherry-picking.
External Affairs Minister talks tough on UN stage, says response on terror cannot be cherry-picked. Very clear. India holds mirror to Canada as Jaishankar straight up tells won't tolerate terrorism for political gains. And while Khalistanis go on a rampage under Trudeau's patronage, Canadian Prime Minister yet to act and respond on Khalistani terror. Major controversy after pictures of US envoy to Pakistan's private visit to Gilgit-Baltistan emerge.
नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम यानी विधानसभा से लेकर लोकसभा तक महिलाओं को प्रतिनिधित्व मिले, प्रतिनिधित्व बढ़े, ये मोदी की गारंटी है.
Woman Carter felicited Prime Minister for Nari Shakti Bandhan Bill. Prime Minister Modi begins his two-day Gujarat visit. And viewers, irrespective of whoever is the politician or whichever political party they may belong to, yes, the only thing on their mind right now, irrespective BJP, Congress, SP, BSP, AAP, whoever or whichever party they belong to, is or are the 2024 general elections. Yes, that's how important 24 elections are going to be. For BJP, it's to keep their number up. It's to keep it above 300, and it is not going to be easy. Yes, the perception they are giving that it's going to be a cakewalk, like a hot knife through butter. But is it going to be that easy? No, it's not. And inside they're aware. Their internal deliberations are on. Their meetings are on. But it would need more than meeting. But there is one thing which makes the BJP comfortable. And that's their trump card. And that's the Prime Minister. Every time the BJP pops it up, brings it up, he delivers. The Prime Minister has no opposition. If you have a personality battle or if you have a leader comparison, whenever it's the Prime Minister versus anyone, he excels, he aces. It has been proved earlier and BJP says it will be proved again. But this time, the only thing which the opposition is banking upon is that all of them have come together. From Arvind Kejriwal to Akhilesh Yadav to Rahul Gandhi to Mamta Banerjee to Sharad Pawar to one and all, everyone has come together. But BJP says it's one versus all, and we are very comfortable with keeping it one versus all because it's Modi versus all. And in that comparison they say that Modi is going to defeat them all. And if you go on statistics, on numbers, on papers, yes. And then they say, don't go by paper. See what has happened. Practically, in the last two general elections and also several other state elections. The opposition says, this time around, they're better equipped. And it's going to be very different than what it was in the last two general elections. They say that irrespective, or they were saying, if I may say so, before that 5-day special parliamentary panel, parliamentary session, which the Prime Minister called, there was a hassle. They were stressed. I'm talking about the INDI alliance. They were stressed literally to the core that what is this man going to bring up? What is going to pour out of the hat? Whether it is going to be one nation, one poll. One party was saying UCC, the other was saying one nation, one poll, other was saying something with Kashmir, someone was saying, yes, something else. But then, it was the women reservation. And everyone had to come together. They could not oppose it. That's Narendra Modi. That's his strategy. And that's the new BJP. The opposition is still stuck on one nation, one poll. Every time any suggestion is made to the panel of one nation, one poll, opposition once again goes frantic. They panic. They go into a panic attack mode. They don't know how to react because they don't know what's happening. And that's the reality. They really are unable to decipher Narendra Modi and his way of politics. They are unable to counter. The only thing the opposition is banking is not on how they will oppose the one nation, one poll. They are banking on these three state elections, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. They feel they could do something there. They feel they will continue their opposition to the one nation, one poll system. The panel, they would keep on opposing the UCC. But they will be able to garner some momentum as they did after they defeated the BJP in Karnataka. Before 24, they would be able to do so if they are able to create even one out of these three, if they are able to get. And then they will continue their rant, they will continue their opposition as far as one nation, one poll is concerned, as far as UCC is concerned, because they know they are divided on UCC and one nation, one poll as well. The INDI alliance will be divided right in the middle, and mark my words when I say so, right in the middle. And that's why one leader will come, say something and go. Because the real test, the real litmus test before 24, according to the opposition, are these three states. But can they really win? Or their counter, or their so unwarranted and unwanted aggression towards the one nation, one poll committee, any development that happened, is that ratifying? What exactly is happening there? Let's find out. But first, this special report, and then we debate.
3 days after the first meeting of One Nation One Poll panel led by former President Ramnath Kovind, the deliberation process is gaining steam. Law Commission is all set to submit its report to the panel on Wednesday.
The report that has been prepared by Law Commission for the last 7 months after consultation with all parties will be submitted to the One Nation One Poll panel on Wednesday. The panel has sought suggestions from all the stakeholders.
Sources in the law panel have said they recommend that simultaneous polls rollout could be on 2029, for which process must commence this year. Though political parties, especially the regional parties, are wary of the move.
One nation, one poll. I told you last time itself, it's an election gimmick of Prime Minister Modi. He's a master of attention diversion politics. That's what he is. Unfortunately, he's delivered diddly squat for this country, and most importantly, I think he's failed miserably on all the promises he's made to the people of India. What I believe honestly is that it is an attention diverting gimmick.
If implemented, simultaneous polls would ensure cost cutting in multiple elections and ensure efficiency in administrative setup. Prime Minister Modi has backed the idea of synchronized elections on multiple locations.
देश में व्यापक रूप से चर्चा चल रही है, एक देश एक साथ चुनाव। ये चर्चा होनी चाहिए, लोकतांत्रिक तरीके से होनी चाहिए, और कभी न कभी एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत के सपनों को साकार करने के लिए और भी ऐसी नई चीजों को हमने जोड़ना होगा। वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन सिर्फ एक चर्चा का विषय नहीं है, बल्कि ये भारत की जरूरत है। हर कुछ महीने में भारत में कहीं न कहीं बड़े चुनाव हो रहे होते हैं। इससे विकास के कार्यों पर जो प्रभाव पड़ता है, उसे आप सब भली भांति जानते हैं। ऐसे में वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन पर गहन अध्ययन और मंथन आवश्यक है।
चुनाव के समय हिंदुस्तान में हर बार चुनाव चलता रहता है भाई, तो सरकार काम करना बंद कर दे क्या? चुनाव आप एक बार तय कर लीजिए भाई, 5 साल में एक बार ही चुनाव होगा। सब मिलकर के चुनाव लड़ेंगे, सभी राज्यों के साथ होंगे, केंद्र का साथ में होगा, सारा खर्चा भी बच जाएगा।
Is India ready for simultaneous elections by 2029? Let's debate.
Well, yes, let's debate, I have the national spokesperson and senior leader of the BJP, Shahzad Poonawala. I have Director of Matrise, Manoj Singh. I have senior journalist Rahul Dev. I have KV Prasad, senior journalist Renu Mittal will join in. And I have political analyst Dushyant Nagar. Shahzad, my first question to you. The opposition is still stuck. Any time, any report on one nation, one poll comes in. Any time the former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, holds a meeting in presence of Amit Shah and then the other members, the opposition panics. The opposition doesn't know how to react. The opposition is unable to decipher which way you are heading.
You see, this is not surprising because the Congress party, obviously it can't get one alliance, one consensus on logo, on neta, on niti, but it opposes everything that is done in the interest of the nation. You remember they opposed one nation, one tax. They opposed one nation, one law. They opposed one nation, one flag and one constitution when 370 was abrogated. And today they are opposing what? They are opposing the same thing that was in place when Nehruji was around. Now they keep invoking Nehruji. So Nehruji ki ye baat kyun pasand nahi aa rahi hai? After that, Nachiyappan ji in 2015 proposed that there should be one nation, one law. After that, the Law Commission report came in 2018. And you know who supported that? It was Samajwadi Party, and Samajwadi Party said 2019 se lagu kar do. 2019 से लागू कर दो. अब बताइए ये इंडी गठबंधन, इनका किसी विषय पर कंसेंसस नहीं है. एक ही विषय पर कंसेंसस है. कंसेंसस ओनली ऑन वन इशू कि हिंदू को दो गाली ताकि मिले वोट बैंक की ताली. एंड देयरफॉर टुडे यू आर सीइंग दिस. एंड देखिए गठबंधन भी क्या ही है इनका. आज मैं एक कुछ बताना चाहता हूँ. Karnataka farmers are protesting against Tamil Nadu CM. Tamil Nadu farmers are protesting against Karnataka CM. Adhir is protesting against Bengal CM. CPI is saying no seat for Rahul Gandhi. Vijayan is saying Congress is not secular. Samajwadi Party is going and saying hello to BRS, the same BRS that Congress is rejecting. In Maharashtra, Uddhav Sena and Congress Party are questioning Sharad Pawar. Sharad Pawar is going and meeting those people that Rahul Gandhi calls corrupt. Aam Aadmi Party is fighting with Congress Party in Punjab. In Punjab, Congress Party is saying आम आदमी पार्टी के 32 एमएलए हमारे साथ है. इन दिल्ली दे आर सेइंग हम सातों पे साथ लड़ेंगे. और 7 बाइपोल भी जो हुए उसमें भी समाजवादी पार्टी फॉट अगेंस्ट कांग्रेस, कांग्रेस फॉट अगेंस्ट लेफ्ट एंड तृणमूल कांग्रेस फॉट अगेंस्ट लेफ्ट. बताइए क्या है?
No, that's okay. No, Shahzad, they are unable to do, but where they are together are these 3 upcoming state elections. They say whether it is Rajasthan, let me tell you. They're saying Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. And let me tell you numbers. And I'm getting Manoj Singh on it. I start with Madhya Pradesh. There BJP has a problem. Can I have Rahul Dev also on it?
They are not.
No. Hold on, Shahzad, hold on. Yes. When I mean together, you need to understand, Kejriwal is going in Chhattisgarh and saying anti-Congress. Today, Pratap Bajwa is saying that 32 MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party are with them. But their top leaders have got consensus on one issue, Shahzad, that stay together. Like you have to stay in a group, you stay on a group and you have to take on a line. So they are taking, they are abusing each other. People can see through, but they are together when it comes down to election, and they are together on one issue, they say. And their point is clear, that defeat BJP in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. And I am coming on numbers. Madhya Pradesh, BJP is at 109, Congress is at 114. BSP 2, others 5, total is 230, 116 is required. Numbers were against you, but still you made the government, you got it. You brought Kamal Nath down. Now the problem with BJP in Madhya Pradesh is that the problem is of plenty. Today you have 7 cabinet, 7 senior member of parliaments going down contesting MLA elections. Shivraj Singh Chauhan's seat is not announced. People are saying whether Shivraj is even getting seat or not. Before I come to you, I am getting Manoj Singh there. No, I'll come to you. You clarify on your time.
Aishwarya, because you cover BJP, I have to clarify.
What? Please clarify. I cover, so you have to clarify.
Yes.
What?
Because see,
what?
It should not look like such a...
What? What?
Pratima Bhaumik contested elections in Tripura. She was a minister. In Uttar Pradesh 2017, and you have seen that strategy closely. Lot of our MPs contested. Yes. So this is the strategy of BJP. But why isn't Digvijay Singh contesting if they are so sure? They should tell us why Digvijay Singh is not contesting.
Rahul Dev on air.
Contesting together. Even the Bhopal rally was cancelled.
Okay, Shahzad, I'll come back to you. Let me get Matrized Manoj Singh. BJP अभी 109 पे है, कांग्रेस 114 पे है. ये 2018 का. शिवराज सिंह चौहान ने पलटा, कमलनाथ की सरकार गिराई. प्रेजेंट आपके नंबर्स क्या कह रहे हैं?
बीजेपी वहां कितने भी बुरे स्थिति में आएगी तो 125 सीटों से नीचे नहीं आएगी। 125 की उसकी फिगर है। रही बात कि आप जो प्रश्न उठा रहे हैं कि जितने ये सीनियर लीडर थे एमपी और मिनिस्टरों को भेजा गया है, और
मैं नहीं, जनता उठा रही है, जनता पूछ रही है मनोज जी। हाँ बोलिए।
जनता के पास मैसेज ही नहीं गया है, मीडिया के पास पहले चला आया है, तो क्वेश्चन इसलिए उठ रहे हैं। तो मेरा अपना मानना है कि ये सारी चीजें एक रणनीति के तहत बीजेपी काम कर रही है और उन सीटों पे काम कर रही है जहां पे उनको लग रहा था कि हमें ऐसे बड़े लीडरों को उतारकर कहीं ना कहीं इस चुनाव को प्रभावित करें और उनका टारगेट 145 155 के ऊपर में लेकर जाना है। तो ये सारी वैसी सीटों को टारगेट करके भेजा है। दूसरी बात है कि ये जितने सीनियर लीडर थे ये वही लोग थे जो पिछले 4 सालों से 5 सालों से दिल्ली में बड़े नेताओं के बीच बैठकर बताते थे कि शिवराज सिंह चौहान की इमेज खराब हो रही है, 17 साल हो गए उनको शासन करते हुए। वहां
आप कह रहे हैं कि इन सबको निपटा दिया?
ये सारे निपटे नहीं है, जीत गए तो जय, हार गए तो गए। मैं तो ये कह रहा हूं, तो जीतना इनके लिए जरूरी हो गया। अब ये अपने चुनाव जीतने में समय लगाएंगे, न कि दिल्ली में आकर ये बताने के लिए परेशान होंगे कि शिवराज सिंह चौहान क्या कर रहे हैं। तो अब रही बात कि मुख्यमंत्री का अभी अनाउंसमेंट क्यों नहीं किया? अरे ये बड़ी सीटें हैं, वो जीती हुई सीटें हैं, मंत्री लड़ते हैं और वहां पर अभी उनको लास्ट में भी अनाउंस करेंगे तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? अभी तो मैसेज यही देना है कि हम सामूहिक नेतृत्व के साथ चुनाव।
No, I disagree. No, Manoj Singh, I disagree, but I want quick numbers on Chhattisgarh as well. Chhattisgarh बीजेपी 15 पे है, कांग्रेस 68. कांग्रेस is at 68, बीजेपी 15 पे है, बीएसपी 7, total are 90. And BJP is literally faceless. कोई चेहरा नहीं है बीजेपी के पास इन छत्तीसगढ़. That is why opposition बहुत ज्यादा strong है मनोज सिंह. मनोज सिंह, the opposition कांग्रेस कह रही है कि भाई we are strong. रमन सिंह थे, but रमन सिंह कहाँ है? रमन सिंह राजनीतिक तौर पर बहुत कमजोर हो गए. He has weakened drastically.
आप रमन सिंह की बाद में बात कीजिए, पहले तो ये कहेंगे बीजेपी वहां पे कितनी कमजोर हुई है। देखिए पिछले 4 सालों से आपके कोई चेहरा नहीं होने के कारण आपने सरकार के विरुद्ध कोई ऐसा आंदोलन या कोई ऐसा निर्णय नहीं ले पाए जिसके कारण पब्लिक के बीच में दिखे कि बीजेपी वहां पे है कि नहीं। इसके बावजूद में
whose fault is it?
नहीं, पहले मैं बता रहा हूं कि लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री का वहां इतना बड़ा इमेज है कि आज के डेट
वो तो ट्रम्प कार्ड है ही
नहीं, तो वही बता रहे हैं कि आज के डेट में बीजेपी वहां अपनी संख्या 27 से शुरू करेगी और कांग्रेस जो है वो 34 से करेगी। 7 सीटों का अंतर है और 17 जिसपे चुनाव कहीं भी पलटा जा सकता है, जिसपे कांग्रेस भी ध्यान लगा रही है और बीजेपी ध्यान लगा रही है। वो 17 सीटें ऐसी होंगी, आप याद रखिएगा, कि जो किसी को भी सत्ता में लेकर आएंगी।
No, you say so. I'll talk about Rajasthan later, Manoj Singh. But Rahul, there are these 2 states, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. They were one at one point of time. Renu Mittal is also joining us. But Rahul Dev, they were one, and now they are 2. And the problem in both these states is completely different. In one, the problem for BJP is of plenty. On the other, there is no face. Congress in Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath says, I am there, Jyotiraditya. The problem which used to be with the Congress is now with the BJP. Jyotiraditya with BJP. So there is no counter to Kamal Nath. Kamal Nath is very comfortable. But according to the Congress's internal sources, if I tell you, they were on a peak during July. They are not on a peak right now. Their leaders might be commenting on what's happening on One Nation, One Poll, but the real internal deliberations are going on how to be victorious in Madhya Pradesh, because their graph is now going down. And in Chhattisgarh, I feel Congress has an upper hand. Though Manoj Singh's number go a bit different, but I still feel that they just might be able to go through despite all the corruption allegation, despite ED arresting the close aides of Bhupesh Baghel and Bhupesh Baghel claiming, Shehzad, that all of this is being done only as vendetta politics. Rahul Dev, your comments on both, and then I move forward.
Well, you see, the very extraordinary and unusual step of asking 7 MPs, including 3 central ministers, to go and fight assembly election by itself is very unusual and says something about the situation there. Of course, it's a strategy, but what is the strategy? Why did it become necessary? Clearly, the party perceived weaknesses in Madhya Pradesh, so it asked its very senior leaders. Now, if you and I, we are central ministers, we are MPs, and if we are asked to go and fight as candidates in assembly elections, will we go happily? Do you think these 7 people are going to be very happy about it? They are clearly saying, they have issued statements on camera that I was taken by surprise. I didn't know. I had no clue. Okay, but we are disciplined workers of the party. I mean, we understand, everyone understands what it means clearly. And secondly, 20 years, 18 to 20 years is a very, very long time. People are fed up. People want change and they need change. This government does not reflect the last election results. We also know, you have the data before us. So I don't think the BJP is in a strong wicket in Madhya Pradesh, and similarly in Chhattisgarh, where the difference is too stark, more than 4 times. Congress is ahead of BJP. Secondly, Mr. Raman Singh, the tallest leader of BJP for 15 years, is physically weak, physically inactive or much less active, and politically also he has lost a lot of ground. There's no alternative, no strong alternative to him. The party doesn't have a strong leader who can replace Raman Singh and challenge the almost near hegemonic hold of Bhupesh Patel there, Baghel there. So I don't think, Mr. Pramod Singh can to have his data. I don't think it's very realistic. It's not realistic.
Very quickly,
yeah, Shehzad counter. Renu Mittal coming to you.
With all due respect to Rahul ji, in our party, everybody is a karyakarta, and whatever responsibility.
No, it suits Shehzad. But politically speaking,
complete to
no, you please complete. But I'm telling you, as a reporter who's covered BJP, because you asked me, I'm telling you, it suits BJP, it suits Congress. Whenever you have to do something, it suits कि हमारे यहाँ सब कार्यकर्ता. But that's a reality.
मैं जवाब दे दूँ?
Please.
हाँ. अब मुझे बताइए दोनों स्टेटमेंट कैसे ट्रू हो सकते हैं? एक जगह आपने एनालिसिस किया कि शिवराज जी को कम करने के लिए इतने सारे सीएम के चेहरे दे दिए, दूसरी जगह वो बोल रहे विल दी 7 बी हैप्पी टू गो एंड फाइट. मतलब सीएम बनाने का अगर हम लोग उनको मौका दे रहे तो वो क्यों नाराज होंगे? ये क्या लॉजिक है? दोनों लॉजिक एक साथ कैसे हो सकते हैं? अच्छा, अब आखिरी पॉइंट प्लीज. राहुल जी मुझसे बड़े बहुत सीनियर है. राहुल जी 5 वर्ष छोड़कर 56 to 2003 मध्य प्रदेश कांग्रेस गवर्नमेंट हैज रूल्ड. मध्य प्रदेश वाज नोन फॉर 4 थिंग्स: डाकू युक्त, गड्ढा युक्त, बिजली मुक्त एंड नक्सल एंड सिमी युक्त. आज सिमी और नक्सल मुक्त, बिजली युक्त, बिजली सरप्लस है. उत्तर प्रदेश दिल्ली को भी बेचती है ये बिजली. आज सड़कें हैं, गड्ढे नहीं. 60,000 किलोमीटर के सड़कें अभी 5 लाख हुए हैं. आज मध्य प्रदेश बीमारू नहीं, विकास की अग्रणी श्रेणी में खड़ा है. 16% ग्रोथ रेट हुआ है. आप ये समझते हैं कि सभी लोग एक परिवार से बिहोल्डन होकर इस प्रकार से थोड़ी तुलना करेंगे. आप सिर्फ इतनी बता दीजिए ना, इतना ही गर्व है तो अपनी 15 महीने की सरकार का या अपनी 10 साल की सरकार का एक तो काम गिनवा दे. हम तो यहां पर 1500 काम अपने गिनवा रहे हैं 20 साल के. ये 15 महीने के 15 काम नहीं गिनवा सकते कांग्रेस वाले, क्योंकि 15 महीने में किया क्या? केवल 15,000 करोड़ के गबन किए, इसलिए करप्शन नाद बन गए. अच्छा, इनमें कितनी एका है? मान्यवर दिग्विजय सिंह बोलते हैं कार्रवाई शुड बी डन ऑन दोज हू से देयर इज हिंदू राष्ट्र. कमलनाथ जी बोलते हैं हिंदू राष्ट्र बनेगा, हिंदू राष्ट्र होगा. स्वामी धीरेन्द्र शास्त्री को बुलाइए, राजस्थान में एफआईआर उनके खिलाफ करते हैं.
2 Babas were called with 2 Babas, not one, not only Dhirendra Shastri, another Baba. I am forgetting the name. Renu Mittal. Kamalnath is playing it smart. Mr. Prasad, I am coming to you, but Kamalnath is playing it smart. Kamalnath knows there is no opposition from within. Shivraj is weak. BJP is getting in their complete cavalry in. It is not going to be easy either for the BJP or the Congress.
Hello.
Renu. Yes, Renu Mittal. Are you getting the audio, ma'am? I don't think the audio is going through. I'm going to Mr. Prasad. Mr. Prasad. Yeah, I'm going to Mr. Prasad. I'm taking the same question to Mr. Prasad. Mr. Prasad, Kamalnath seems to be playing it safe.
Well, I think that's politics, right? Whoever sees the field. Obviously, a captain wants to set the field according to the way he's going to play the game. I mean, anybody in that position would try and do the best of the bargain that's available. As you pointed out, the facts that Mr. Shivraj Chauhan has his own challenges, both within the party and as an administrator. He has held a long tenure. So people of Madhya Pradesh are totally aware of what his capabilities are and what he has delivered. So there is no gainsaying about that. Kamalnath had a brief stint as a chief minister, not very successful is what all reports have indicated. and there was a lot of internal struggle that he had to eventually face. Having said that, I think this is a perfect opportunity for Mr. Kamal Nath, though he has very little challenge within and probably faces a BJP which has its own set of challenges, including what a senior journalist has just mentioned, Rahul Devji, about the fact that BJP decided to fill 7 union ministers is a story that has its own narrative. Please, Aishwarya.
No, it has its own narrative, and then there is a state. Dushyant Nagar, Renu Mittal, Manoj Singh, I'm coming to you. Rajasthan. Rajasthan. Where the trouble for both or the problem for both Congress and the BJP is same. There is fight in Congress, there is fight in BJP. In Congress, there is Ashok Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot. In BJP, it is Vasundhara Raje versus the all. BJP has made it clear for all 3 states. They are not, and I repeat, the Prime Minister has made it apparently very clear after the rallies in Bhopal and Rajasthan that they are not going to announce a chief ministerial candidate, whether it is Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan. It might not trouble Shivraj that much. Shivraj is comfortable. It is troubling Vasundhara. It is troubling Rajasthan Centre. Shehzad might completely disagree and say that no, wrong. But the central leadership of the BJP has been pushing Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. But वहां वसुंधरा है, वो नाक पे मक्खी नहीं बैठने देते हैं. She is just not allowing it. And that's the only state left in the new era of the BJP post 2014, where Vasundhara still controls a particular area in Rajasthan that more than 25 to 28 MLAs, yes, they are BJP MLAs, but they are also very loyal to Vasundhara. And that is not very comfortable for the present regime of the BJP. Let this be very clear. But no, you let me complete and then you counter, boss. You counter. I know you will counter. Let me. You counter. But the only problem is, Manoj Singh, that the problem is equally strong. दोनों के लिए बराबर की दिक्कत है. Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, it's out in the open. We don't need to decipher. Rahul Dev, me, Renu Mittal, we will not disagree because all of us, including Shehzad, it's all there. In BJP, they've kept it under the wraps. उन्होंने दबा के रखा है. लेकिन Vasundhara Raje Scindia's, she just cannot accept that she is not being announced. And that is creating problems in the local cadre, in the leadership of the BJP. BJP, trump card, accepted Shehzad. BJP's trump card accepted Manoj. Prime Minister's stature is so high. Renu Mittal, I'll come to you. Renu Mittal, I'll come to you. Stature is so high that he belittles every leader when compared to. But state leadership is also important. And BJP has understood in Himachal and Karnataka, you need strong state leadership. So, by sidelining Vasundhara, will they still be able to defeat Ashok Gehlot? जी.
दो तीन चीजों को देख लीजिए. जहां तक राजस्थान की बात करते हैं कि एक चेहरा तो है और काफी बड़ी चेहरा है, और हमारे डेटा में भी दिख रहा है जब पूछा जाता है उनसे कि भाई वसुंधरा को साइड करके यदि चुनाव लड़ती है बीजेपी तो उसका असर कितना होगा. 30% लोगों का कहना होता है कि इसका काफी असर पड़ेगा. कितना 38%. ओके, 38% लोगों का कहना होता है कि इसका असर पड़ता है. जहां तक हम चेहरे की बात करते हैं तो वहां पे जितना बीजेपी के लिए वसुंधरा जी नुकसान पहुंचा रही है तो सचिन जी कांग्रेस के लिए भी कम नुकसान नहीं हो रहे, और यहीं पे आकर मेंटेन होता है. और यही कारण है
यहीं पे आके आप कह रहे हैं दोनों की प्रॉब्लम्स बराबर हो जाती है.
और दूसरा
अभी नहीं मानेंगे आपकी बात, कोई बात नहीं,
मानने न मानने की
सर आ रहा हूं आपके पास.
सेकंड में जो वोट परसेंटेज देख रहा हूं कि इतना टाइट वहां पे पोजीशन है दोनों पार्टियों के अंदर में, मात्र 2% का डिफरेंस चल रहा है बीजेपी और कांग्रेस में. आज भी डेट में कांग्रेस का 2%, 38% आ रहा, 36% बीजेपी का आ रहा वोट परसेंटेज.
But this is before the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has just entered, and when the man enters, the things diabolically change. चीजें बिल्कुल बदल जाती है मनोज जी.
उस पे भी एक क्वेश्चन है कि यदि प्रधानमंत्री जी चुनाव का प्रचार करते हैं यहाँ पे तो उसका कितना असर पड़ता है. 60% लोगों का मानना है कि प्रधानमंत्री के चेहरे पे और ये ही पे आकर
That's where they are able to handle all this.
दोनों चीजें हो जाती.
That's where they are able to handle all this. Shehzad, you have to accept. Problem is there. But you have the man with you. You have the trump card with you, which solves all your problems with one swipe.
Take you back to history for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Whenever Ashok Gehlot has faced as an incumbent the test, he has lost terribly. Whereas when we also, the last election 2018 when we lost, the difference was only 20-25 seats. Congress won 95 odd seats and we won 70 odd seats. So you can see
Congress 100, you 73. Yeah,
that's it. Secondly, for Vasundhara ji has been sidelined. She is the vice president of my party. She is
Rajasthan politics.
one of the tallest leaders of Rajasthan across party lines. And you are saying she has been sidelined?
Rajasthan politics.
In Rajasthan politics?
Rajasthan politics.
And where is she doing politics now?
No, I am saying with some gravitas. I am saying with certain decisions have been made over the last 5. That is a point.
But
this is not a Rajasthan-centric debate. Yes, please make your point.
See, in Congress, today there are 3 Congresses in Rajasthan. You know what 3 Congresses are there in Rajasthan?
Please explain.
Pilot wali Congress.
अच्छा.
बिना pilot की Congress.
Renu Mittal is
पारिवारिक Congress.
अच्छा.
ये 3 Congress operate कर रही है तीनों अलग-अलग दिशा में.
Renu Mittal is counted.
वाली बिना pilot वाली और पारिवारिक.
Renu Mittal is counted.
What happened
Yes, ma'am.
in Karnataka? Mr. Yadurappa went all out after he was defeated. Mr. Yadurappa went all out to defeat the BJP and support the Congress. In Madhya Pradesh, the same thing is happening. You are humiliating a senior leader like Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who has been a 4-time chief minister by not giving him, not even announcing his name. You tried to remove him in the middle. So what happened? The RSS had to step in and save his job. Now the point is, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, does not want any of these stellar faces of the BJP to be prominent, whether it's Vasundhara, whether it's Yadurappa, whether it's Shivraj Singh Chauhan, whether it's Fadnavis or anybody, or Mr. Yogi, the most important Mr. Yogi. So the point is that he's trying to sideline all these guys who are now going to be working against the BJP. Now in Rajasthan, if you don't have a Vasundhara, where does the BJP go? BJP needs Vasundhara to come to power. Vasundhara and Gehlot come together. They are old friends. They help each other. Whenever either one of them comes to power, they ensure that there are no cases.
Right, Renu. Renu, so you are saying that Congress and BJP, the leaders who defeat each other, are best of friends. This is amazing. No, I have heard this. Let her complete. Let
me finish.
Get Rahul Dev honor also.
A lot of others' time. Please give me.
Please do, ma'am. Coming.
In Rajasthan, there is a lot of problems within the Congress. It's now Delhi versus Jaipur. Rahul Gandhi does not like Gehlot, but he could not remove him because of the weakness within the Congress leadership. Now the point is that the BJP doesn't like Vasundhara. There is a free-for-all going on in Rajasthan depending on the ticket distribution. Now I am saying that the Rajasthan election is wide open, though I feel that Congress is on a losing wicket because many of their MLAs are very unpopular. And unless they axe about 60% of their sitting MLAs, they cannot hope to win at all. Now in the BJP, there is a huge number of leaders who are wanting to become chief minister because Vasundhara is out of the race. Now what Vasundhara will do, we will see later. The same thing is happening in Madhya Pradesh. You have brought in so many senior leaders from Delhi to contest and to give them the carrot that look, you can be chief minister, you can be chief minister, you can be chief minister. What will Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan do? He will do whatever he has to do to make sure the party does not.
But Shivraj is the chief minister.
The point is that
Renu Mittal, that's the point. Shehzad is saying Shivraj is the chief minister. Others are saying we can be. No.
How long? Of course.
He is the chief minister.
You tried to remove him. No. Mr. Modi and Mr.
Who tried to remove him? Shehzad, you tried to remove him?
Let me make a factual correction.
Please do.
Please.
No one will have a meltdown. Relax, this is senior.
Shehzad is a nobody.
Carry on, Shehzad.
Shehzad is a nobody who doesn't either figure here or there.
Renuji, by making these personal comments, what happened?
BJP, don't pretend.
Please relax.
They try to.
You're a senior journalist. You understand politics.
No, I mean, Shehzad.
ये राजनीति है.
I do. Little bit I do.
कभी हर्ष पे, कभी फर्श पे, रेणुजी.
Relax. इसी कैटेगरी में है.
Relax.
शिवराज सिंह जी भी उसी कैटेगरी में है.
Relax.
The fight is within the BJP, not outside the BJP.
Please, thank you.
So let's see what happens.
Thank you,
Shehzad. How it rolls out.
Shehzad. Thank you, Shehzad.
Whether he knows about it.
Renuji, please. अब ऐसा नहीं that you have not spoken for 20 minutes, so you'll go on for the next 20. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, Shehzad.
When you say Shivrajji's name has not been announced in the tickets, has any minister of Madhya Pradesh government been announced?
No, I am saying that the list which has come out. Yeah, this is the second list.
भाई उनका भी बंद हुआ तो आप दो लिस्ट आई है, 78 सीट्स आई है, कांग्रेस की तो एक भी लिस्ट नहीं है. देखिए, I don't want to speak.
Hold on.
Let's have our.
Renu Mittal, please don't. Renu Mittal, please don't. Renu Mittal, you've made your point. Now let's have this now let's clear Shahzad. Let me hear him. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Two lists, 78 names have been declared. Has any minister in the Madhya Pradesh government been declared for the ticket? Point one. As far as the CM-ship is concerned, Gehlot is the sitting CM in Rajasthan. Has his name been declared as the CM? रेनू जी मेरे रेलेवेंस की चिंता मत कीजिए. आप तो उस समय पर भी इरेलेवेंट थी जब आप मुफ्त की चाय पीने AICC आती थी और मैं देखता रहता था आपकी कौन सी पत्रिका उस समय पर छपती थी. और आज मुझे नहीं अंदाजा है. मैं राष्ट्रीय प्रवक्ता हूं बीजेपी का. मैं कोई नहीं, आप ही ये लुटियंस के लोग ही सब कुछ है. ये आप अपने मन में रखे भाव. मुझे कोई समस्या नहीं.
Relax.
मैं कोई नहीं हूँ. हम तो चाय वाले की पार्टी से. हम कौन ही हैं?
Relax.
हम कौन ही हैं?
Okay. Renu Mittal, Shahzad, please relax. No, I am asking you, Manoj Singh. Before I come to Dushyant, the ever smiling Dushyant Nagar, I'm coming to you. Rahul ji, I'm coming back to you. The impact of these 3 state elections. Because any Congress leader you speak to, any opposition leader you speak to, they will not talk about these elections. They're talking about ONOP, UCC. What is going to have a higher impact? The result of these 3 elections, ये इन 3 स्टेट इलेक्शंस में क्या होता है, उसका इम्पैक्ट 24 पे ज्यादा होगा?
24 में ज्यादा
कितना होगा? हाउ मच?
जहां तक राजस्थान की बात मैं करूं तो राजस्थान में भी थोड़ा सा इम्पैक्ट है, चूंकि उस समय तक ये पता चल जाएगा सिंधिया जी को कि मेरी भूमिका क्या है राजस्थान में. और हो सकता है कि वो चुनाव विधानसभा से लेकर पार्लियामेंट तक यदि उनको कोई बड़ी भूमिका नहीं दी गई और उनको साइडलाइन किया गया तो उसका असर पड़ेगा. जहां तक
कांग्रेस वाज कमिंग अप विद अ वीडियो, कांग्रेस पार्टी वाज कमिंग अप विद अ वीडियो, मनोज सिंह, जिसके अंदर राजा साहब स्पीकिंग बट गैलरी खाली है.
अब आगे की चले.
दे वर ट्राइंग टू काउंटर. यस, प्लीज कैरी ऑन. या
अब आए हम मध्य प्रदेश में प्रधानमंत्री के बाद ओबीसी कोई यदि लीडर है और इतना बड़ा लीडर है कि जिसका आप साइड नहीं कर सकते हैं, पहली बात. दूसरी बात है कि ये बीजेपी के लोग मानेंगे और सभी लोग मानेंगे कि गुजरात के बाद यदि बीजेपी ने अपने स्टेट जो सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा काम किया है वो मध्य प्रदेश का है. और आप उसके डेवलपमेंट पे, उसकी समृद्धि पे, उसके इरिगेशन पे जितना उन्होंने काम किया है, कर्नाटका के बाद सबसे अच्छा इरिगेशन पे काम किया हुआ है, सबसे ज्यादा मोटा अनाज पैदा करने वाला है. मैं कहा ना ये चीजें आज जिस तरीके से गुटबाजी बनी है, पार्टी को रोकना भी जरूरी है, नहीं तो वो हिमाचल प्रदेश वाली स्थिति हो जाएगी कि हम यदि उस समय ध्यान नहीं दिए कि हमारे लीडर खड़े हो जाएंगे तो हमें क्या नुकसान कर देंगे. तो ये जो 4-5 सालों से खबर दी जा रही थी कि शिवराज सिंह चौहान के बारे में जो यहाँ पे फैलाई जा रही थी लोटियन जोन में, उसको कम करने के लिए हो सकता है ये मेरी अपनी सोच हो, लेकिन शिवराज सिंह चौहान को इतना साइड करके नहीं चला जा. जैसे सब कुछ होने के बाद आज रमन सिंह के पास बीजेपी के लोग जाते हैं कि आप सिर्फ पार्टियों में आए, पार्टी के कार्यक्रमों में आए, वो नेता नहीं है. लेकिन आज के डेट में यदि बीजेपी को छत्तीसगढ़ में किसी के बारे में पूछेंगे तो वो इन्हीं को वोट मिलेगा. इसलिए मिलेगा कि पिछले 15 साल तक उन्होंने शासन किया है. एक पार्टी गुट को एक पार्टी के नेताओं के रूप में रहते हुए कार्यकर्ताओं के साथ उन्होंने जोड़ा है.
और दुष्यंत नागर, ओके, दुष्यंत नागर, आपके हिसाब से नागर साहब, राहुल देव जी कमिंग, केवी प्रसाद कमिंग, रेणु मित्तल कमिंग,
मेरे हिसाब से भारतीय
इन तीन स्टेट इलेक्शंस का कितना फर्क पड़ेगा 24 के इलेक्शन?
पार्टी ने जो अपने जी, मेरे हिसाब से भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जो 90s के दशक के अपने लीडर्स हैं उनको भेजा है मध्य प्रदेश में, वो उनकी हताशा को दर्शाता है. भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास में युवा नेतृत्व की कमी है. अगर कुछ युवा चेहरों को लाए होते तो बात बनती. स्टेट की 65% जो पॉपुलेशन है वो यंग है. उनके मुकाबले में कांग्रेस के पास कौन है? कांग्रेस के पास जीतू पटवारी है, जयवर्धन सिंह है, कमलेश्वर पटेल है, सुभाष यादव है. तो ये कहां मुकाबला कर पाएंगे? देखिए, नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर को एक लंबा समय हो गया है केंद्र की राजनीति करते हुए, स्टेट से कनेक्शन नहीं है. सेम पटेल साहब की स्थिति है. तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी तो अपना चुनाव हार चुकी, वो तो पहले ही छोड़ चुके हैं. इससे तो यही प्रदर्शित होता है.
जैसे As you were winning Gujarat, Dushyant, isn't it? But Shehzad, I'll come to you at last now. I'm coming for ending comments and then I'll come to you. KV Prasad, of course. What weightage will you give to these assembly polls? And these are our ending comments, sir. What weightage will you give to these state assembly polls and their impact on 24?
Well, I'll just give you three examples. If you look at 98, the BJP lost these three states.
Please do so.
But 99, Vajpayee government got voted back, right? You look at 2003, BJP, the Congress wrested power in two of these states. It was the UPA came to power. So, one cannot really say whether these, of course, the only difference that makes is to the political environment, 1A, and the atmosphere, and the workers who get enthused by these results. That's what I feel. But otherwise, if you look at the results, look at what happened. Last time, Congress won all these three states, but 2019, Narendra Modi government came back to power. So one cannot really say is A is equal to B in this case, because politics, a lot of things changes, the atmosphere changes. And I have seen repeatedly over years, people of the state vote differently when it comes to state and exercise in a different manner when it comes to national elections is what the observation is.
Oh, that's true. Rahul Dev, the opposition is more confident, or it seems as if it's more confident in these assembly polls than in 24. What does your experience tell us, sir?
I think so far as the opposition alliance is concerned, it's confident about the assembly elections. I'm talking. The opposition alliance seems to be confident about the assembly elections, but not so confident nationally. That is very clear. And with the reasons are also quite clear and obvious to everyone. You asked a question about weightage. I think the assembly election results will have about 40% weightage on the national elections. 60%. This is extra 10% because of Modi factor. But we have seen Modi factor is not an all season trump card. We have seen what happened in Himachal Pradesh. We have seen Karnataka. We have seen other states also. So it doesn't run and succeed everywhere in the same manner. Sometimes it has failed to produce results, very recently so. So, elections are always an open question. Beyond a point, we should not be making predictions right now. It will depend on the then national issues that are prevailing in the country, the motive issues that are prevailing in the country, and which party, which alliance is able to make use of those that environment at that time.
Shehzad doesn't agree, but I'll come for your final comment. Shehzad, Renu Mittal, can you hear me, ma'am? 45 seconds I have for you. Renu Mittal dropped. Technical error. Shehzad, I'm taking that question to you. Shehzad, it is a clear divided house. Few say it's going to have an impact. Few say it not. You may have your own perception. You may have your own way to decipher. But it looks like divided. If you talk about these three states, you will say obviously that BJP will win all through. I may have my own perception. Manoj Singh says numbers, Shivraj will sail through. He's saying that BJP numbers are going to increase in Rajasthan, and he's giving you massive numbers in Chhattisgarh as well.
Look, first of all, some of these people whose analysis, it changes so rapidly. Before Gujarat elections, they would say, Gujarat semi-final hai, यहाँ से मोदी की वापसी शुरू हो रही है, गुजरात जीता तो अब गुजरात का क्या करना है, गुजरात को चुनाव 2024 की दृष्टि से ये तो डन डील था जी. ये ऐसे भी एनालिस्ट, जैसे मोदी जी ने बोला ना, कांग्रेस एक रस्टेड आयन की तरह बन चुकी है, वैसे कुछ एनालिस्ट भी बन चुके हैं. ये जंग लगे हुए लोहे की तरह है, बारिश में पिघल गए हैं, इनका कोई काम नहीं है, केवल अपनी सहूलियत के हिसाब से इधर 40% दूंगा, इधर 50%.
But how confident are you about Chhattisgarh?
मैं तो ये कह रहा हूँ कि राहुल जी ने तो अभी वक्तव्य दिया, उन्होंने राजस्थान में 1% का कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं दिखाया. उन्होंने तो राजस्थान को गिना ही नहीं कि हम वहां पे
छत्तीस मध्य प्रदेश में भी.
और मैं देखिए, ऐसा है, कोई भी व्यक्ति जानता है कांग्रेस के साथ सिमी भी वापस आएगी, कांग्रेस के साथ नक्सलिज्म भी वापस आएगा, कांग्रेस के साथ बीमारू राज्य का टैग, और कांग्रेस जहां आती है वहां पे गले कटते हैं, वहां पे निवेश नहीं होता.
Well, that's the BJP's counter, but I'll only say one thing, and Manoj Singh, your numbers say something. I really, when it comes down on Chhattisgarh, I say I have my difference of opinion on Madhya. Yeah. 30 seconds, Rahul Dev. 30 seconds. 30 seconds, Rahul. 30 seconds, sir.
Shehzad is a part. I'm speaking. Shehzad is a party spokesman. He's free to give his analysis and perception, but I would request him to show some civility.
Right.
And not make these very uncalled for comments about jung laga and about journalists. It doesn't behove him. It's very, very unfortunate.
आपने 14 जर्नलिस्ट बैन कर दिए, अर्नब गोस्वामी इंक्लूडेड. उस पे एक राहुल जी आपका एक ट्वीट आया, अर्नब को बैन किया है इन्होंने, बैन. आपको पता है?
आज से नहीं, 8 साल से किया है कांग्रेस शासन का. But my point is this. No, they do what they want.
मतलब आपकी फेवरेट
they do. The Congress can do what they want. Renu Mittal, but my only thing is this, Shehzad, that when you compare Modi versus all, Modi versus this, Modi versus this, Rahul Gandhi, Arvind Kejriwal, Mamta Banerjee, Sharad Pawar, Akhilesh Yadav, XYZ, Nitish Kumar, there is no comparison. And that is where the BJP sails it through. BJP gets its way through. And that's why, even despite having the same problems in Rajasthan, the tide is tilting towards the BJP. Despite having the problem in Madhya Pradesh, they will sail through. At least that's what the numbers are saying. In Chhattisgarh, they're still okay. They are still trying to manage. So we'll have more deliberations on it. We'll have more debate on it. Thank you very much, all of you. And Arnab is going to be back very soon. Renu Mittal, I tried to come to you. Renu Mittal. The audio wasn't coming. Thank you, viewers. That's the time I have on the debate tonight. Thank you very much, viewers. Thank you.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research at Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.
3, 2, 1, we are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
Nor must we countenance that political convenience determines responses to terrorism, extremism, and violence. Similarly, respect for territorial integrity and non-interference in internal affairs cannot be exercises in cherry picking.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research at Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
It was also noteworthy that at India's initiative, the African Union was admitted as a permanent member of the G20. This significant step in reform should inspire the United Nations, a much older organization, to also make the Security Council contemporary.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research at Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.
3, 2, 1. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
1. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
The debate at 10, presented by Berger Easy Clean, powered by Reva University, Quick Heal Secrite, Green Lamb Laminates, PolicyBazaar.com, and Cucina, co-powered by Mankind Pharma and New Nexon.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the UNGA, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has shown the mirror to Canada on terror. He's made it clear that response to terror cannot be based on political convenience. Justin Trudeau, who is already under fire domestically, has once again been cornered internationally. In fact, his comment against India is undoubtedly the biggest diplomatic blunder. Here's what S. Jaishankar said, and then we debate.
Subramaniam Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs of India.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the General Assembly, Namaste from Bharat.
As External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar took the stage at UNGA, he took India's message to the world.
It was also noteworthy that at India's initiative, the African Union was admitted as a permanent member of the G20. By doing so, we gave voice to an entire continent which has long been its due. This significant step in reform should inspire the United Nations, a much older organization, to also make the Security Council contemporary.
But the biggest message was to Canada.
Nor must we countenance that political convenience determines responses to terrorism, extremism, and violence. Similarly, respect for territorial integrity and non-interference in internal affairs cannot be exercises in cherry-picking.
This very strong statement from S. Jaishankar comes at a time when Canada has given a free run to Khalistani elements on its soil. Khalistani elements were on a rampage outside Indian consulates in Toronto and Vancouver, posing risk to Indian diplomats. But Trudeau has been on a weak footing. Even his army wants better relations with India.
I'm fully aware of Prime Minister Trudeau's statement, the government's stance, and the government's request for India to participate in and cooperate in the investigation. But really that has no impact on us here at the Indo-Pacific Conference. We're really here to build relationships army to army, and we'll let our governments deal with that issue themselves.
And internationally too, Canada is on a sticky wicket.
Look, we care about both countries and we care about their relationship.
Our relationship is rock solid with both of them. And I think that all of us need to make sure that we can come together as countries that take seriously sovereignty, take seriously security, and take seriously the potential of our relationship. But as you see here demonstrated, US and India are definitely stronger together.
Justin Trudeau has been pushed to a corner because of his political compulsions. Let's debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine this situation. A head of the state is backing what he calls a Canadian citizen. In fact, that very citizen wasn't granted citizenship for the longest time. But what turns out is that on the day when Hardeep Singh Nijjar was killed, it was the RCMP and the Surrey Police Service fighting over jurisdiction for over 20 minutes. 3 months have passed. Not a single person has been arrested. In any other given situation, perhaps there would have been a proper inquiry, committees would have been set up, and if at all, they would have got a foreign hand in the killing. Perhaps only then an announcement of this nature would have been made on the floor of the parliament. Even when it comes to 26/11 terror attack, India has gone through an elaborate procedure. A dossier was prepared and thereafter given to Pakistan. A mature democracy, a mature country essentially would have done that, and especially if it's led by a mature leader. But ladies and gentlemen, today what we are witnessing is that domestic compulsions and a 2.1% population is holding a head of the state ransom. Joining us on this debate tonight are Sushant Sareen, Professor Madhav Nalapat, Ambassador Ashok Sajjanar, Dr. Joseph Jalil, Terry Mileski and Daniel Boatman and Puneet Sahani. Opening up the debate tonight is Sushant Sareen. Sushant, a Western media outlet puts out an investigative piece. They've gone through the CCTV footage and they say that 20 minutes the police was fighting over the jurisdiction. If the case was so very important for Canada, then they would surely have arrested someone or the other, given the fact that they've been captured at the CCTV. 3 months have passed, they haven't been able to do so. And today, you have the head of the state essentially talking about, perhaps describing Hardeep Singh Nijjar as perhaps a loyal soldier.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy what's happening in Canada right now. Look, here is the thing. You know, the biggest problem is that if there is an investigation ongoing, what prompted the Canadian Prime Minister to come and shoot his mouth off? Why couldn't the investigation be complete? You arrest the people involved, you file cases against them, and you take it to trial like other countries have done. England, for example, has done this. And then you can make a statement if you have actually found any evidence which points to Indian culpability, Indian involvement, or Indian conspiracy behind this entire episode. Then you could have come and made a statement. But here is a Prime Minister who comes and, you know, at the very outset starts and uses the term credible allegations. Now, if that is not something which makes them a laughing stock, what does? And why does he do it? Because apparently, and this we hear from one of these thugs, Khalistani thugs in the Canadian, I don't know, sometimes I use Pakistan and Canada interchangeably these days, but one of the Canadian parliamentarians who, says that, well, you know, this has happened because a newspaper was going to publish a report the next day. Now, newspapers publish report every day, right? They publish reports on the basis of certain information they've got, certain leaks that they've got. They publish those reports. What do law enforcement agencies and security agencies and governments do? Their response is normally that, look, investigations are ongoing and we will not comment on it right now. Let the investigations be completed. But Justin Trudeau decides that he will come and he will shoot his mouth off. That is where this whole fracas starts. Now, if the Canadians have solid evidence and they have such formidable intelligence, then at least somebody should have been arrested. Somebody at least should have been detained. Hell, somebody should have been questioned. Nothing of the sort has been happening. So how, and on the basis of that, you have shot a bilateral relationship with a country like India. You've shot it completely. So I cannot understand how and why they've done this, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, in fact, Sushant, I want to ask this question to Terry Milewski, because if he is aware, because he's written extensively about Canada's response when it comes to Khalistani extremism. But Terry Milewski, are you aware of which dictionary perhaps Justin Trudeau is referring to? Because his definition of credible seems to be very different than what many of us know. As I understand, the definition of credible is very different than what Justin Trudeau has been talking about. So is there a different dictionary that he refers to?
Well, here's the problem. We don't know what he's referring to. And until he lays his cards on the table and makes it quite clear why he thinks it's credible and what the information is, he's going nowhere. This is just going to be a gigantic failure for him, and he's going to be finished in politics, I would say, if he's bet on what? And he's going to lose that bet unless he produces evidence. Now, I don't exclude the possibility that he might. There might be something, some wiretap somewhere that indicates perhaps somebody who had something to do with the Indian government saying, okay, we've got him. And we don't know, it depends on your interpretation, whether that wiretap necessarily means that we've got him, meaning our team scored a goal, or I was a player on the field. It's always subject, even signals intelligence is never definitive. It's always subject to interpretation. But I would say that what the problem that happens, that we're facing at the moment, is that both sides, the Canadians and the Indians, are living in the past to a degree in terms of using an out-of-date model of the terrorism that they're supposed to be fighting. What I mean is that the Canadians say, well, it doesn't meet that standard. What's happening in Canada, they're not blowing anything up. There's no terrorism here. India's exaggerating. Whereas the Indians exaggerate by saying, well, they're terrorists, and that's their model of what terrorism is. It means blowing things up, when really we're in an information war. It's or really a disinformation war, whereby Khalistanis are teaching children that the Air India bombers were heroes, for example. They're teaching children that the mastermind of that bombing is a martyr of the Sikh nation and a model for Sikh youth. They're teaching children, look, here is a diorama, a tableau of the assassination of Indira Gandhi, driving through the streets of Toronto, celebrating this event with, oh yes, plenty of red paint on the Prime Minister's sari to indicate to the kids this was a bloody event, number one, and number two, we're proud of it. We'd do it again if we could. It was a wonderful thing. So now we have a situation where Mr. Nijjar, the Canadian account is, we don't know of any terrorism that he's done. We don't see any convictions, extradition requests that meet Canadian standards. And the Indian says, oh, yeah, we've labeled him a terrorist. He must be a terrorist. But look at his speeches. Look at the video of what Nijjar was preaching in that temple where he was president and where he met his maker. He's saying in that speech that, here's our great achievements as a movement. We assassinated Indira Gandhi. We assassinated Chief Minister Beant Singh of Punjab. We killed General Vaidya, who commanded the Indian Army troops at the Golden Temple, and more and more and more. Worshipping terrorism. It is an ideological battle that they are waging, and we've got to start judging it by that rather than waiting for things to blow up. That's going to be too late.
Professor Nalapat, is Canada actually willing to sacrifice 13.67 billion bilateral trade with India with regards to India playing that pivotal role as far as the Indo-Pacific region is concerned? Bulwark of the work is essentially done by India. Are they really willing to sacrifice all of this only because they believe, at least Justin Trudeau and his government essentially believe that, look here, we need to pacify those very extremists. And let's not forget, we should not make this colossal mistake to believe that Canadian Sikhs, all Canadian Sikhs essentially believe in this flawed movement to begin with. That's not the case.
Look, I quite agree with you. The Sikh community is a wonderful community. And I was in Punjab many times during the 1980s when the grandfather of the, one of the grandparents of that kind of terrorist, Justin Trudeau's father. If Trudeau is the father, his father was the grandfather. And they were creating mayhem there. But I'd like to say to our friend from Canada that that this gentleman, whom Justin Trudeau is defending so publicly, he had the blood of so many people on his hands. And what mystifies me, frankly, I've gone through the records. When did Justin Trudeau last speak about the murder of some gangster in Canada? When was the last time he went to Parliament? And when was the last time he blamed the foreign government for a gangland murder? I haven't. If there is some record of that, I'd like to see that. The reality of the situation is that for some political reason, Justin Trudeau has made this outrageous charge. And the good news is that you had these so-called demonstrations. Relatively few turned up. I hope there were cameras on every one of those who turned up. And not only their OCI cards, their visas are stopped permanently, and their whatever property they have in India is confiscated immediately. This ought to have been done 30 years ago. I'm glad it's being done now. But whoever is encouraging this kind of thing needs to have some blowback. Until now, there's been no blowback. And that is why even Justin Trudeau thought he could get away with this barefaced lie.
Okay. In fact, as far as the blowback is concerned, I'll perhaps get in Daniel Boardman. But Daniel, before I come to you, I'll just get in Ambassador Sajjanar. Ambassador Sajjanar, there is a pattern if you really look at it. Back in 2002, as I understand, a Toronto-based Punjabi language weekly, Sanj Savera, in fact, greeted Indira's death anniversary with a cover illustration of a murder, and a headline that came out was "Honor the Martyrs Who Killed the Sinner." Interestingly, this very magazine, ladies and gentlemen, was actually given government advertisement. Of course, let's not forget what happened in Brampton. So it is very clear, Ambassador Sajjanar, the position that Justin Trudeau has maintained all this while. Perhaps, a glimmer of hope was from that disastrous trip of Justin Trudeau and then the joint framework that came in, where they basically made a mention of Babbar Khalsa and the International Sikh Youth Federation. But then it seems all of that has gone down the drain. There is a pattern. Justin Trudeau wants to follow what Professor Nalapat is saying, his father's footsteps.
No, you're very right. I agree with you. I think there is, as far as Justin Trudeau is concerned, he has a soft corner for the Khalistanis, and he thinks that they can continue to do whatever they want, even as far as a friendly country is concerned, like India, having demonstrations, collecting money and giving money to people to do the secession of Khalistan, so-called Khalistan from India, from Indian territory, that this is all falls under the definition of freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Of course, it doesn't come under that, meaning we have seen that till yesterday, there has been no action that has been taken against these protesters, the Khalistani extremists and militants, those who have put the pictures of the High Commissioner and the Consuls General on their posters and saying that these are the people who are responsible for the killing of terrorist Harjeet Singh Nijjar, and that we will take revenge by killing these people. So these posters were being displayed at very many different places. So the point is that as far as Justin Trudeau is concerned, he has a soft corner and he has been playing it that way, basically for his own political compulsions. That is what Mr. Jaishankar said in his statement today, that political convenience should not be the way in which you deal with terrorism and extremism. But this is exactly what they have been doing. And I think what really seems to have hit Justin Trudeau very hard is, I don't think he expected that India would take such a very strong stand, as India has taken, basically defining this as both absurd and motivated by political compulsions, and absurd because, as has been mentioned, this expression, credible allegations, this is really an oxymoron. It is a contradiction in terms. I've never heard this expression earlier. I've only heard about credible evidence. And evidence is one thing that he has not been able to speak. Even his own party, in fact... yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, Ambassador, but I was just, perhaps tempted to make this point that it's going to enter the lexicon of diplomacy, this credible allegation that he essentially talks about. Till date, no one has really understood what Justin Trudeau is trying to say. Only he can perhaps answer that question. And we are really hoping, because half the time we've seen, the last time that he addressed a press conference, he was scratching his head when a question was posed to him. So only Justin Trudeau really knows about it. Ambassador, if you have already completed your statement, permit me to take this a little forward with to understand the domestic compulsion, the political convenience that Dr. S. Jaishankar was also pointing out with Daniel Boardman. And I'll perhaps come back to you. Daniel Boardman, we've essentially seen the response that has come in from, of course, your opposition leader and the media too, who haven't really bought this entire argument. And they too have been demanding that, look here, that when it comes to ties with India, it is very important. In fact, the United States of America has also advised the same. But it seems that Justin Trudeau is being ill-advised, as some say. The question is, who is he getting his advice from? Is it from Pakistan? Or am I trivializing the matter too much?
I mean, listen, I could not fathom who's giving Justin Trudeau advice. Clearly, it's not me. That's all we know. It's not me. Also, I will point out, hard to call this a debate when I'm agreeing with all the panelists here, making great points. Maybe next time I'll invite Jagmeet Singh alongside with me so we can have some fun and make it a real one. The only thing I'll add to what Terry said, Terry's right about the insanity of
it's a rare occasion
of terrorism from the Khalistani movement in Canada.
Daniel Boardman, it's a rare occasion when on a debate you have everyone agreeing.
I know. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's a rare occasion.
I know. I'm being me. Yes. So we have the glorification of terrorism and saying he's a hero and a martyr, or Shahid, the Arabic word for martyr, because this is how we do it in Khalistan. But also, it's a conspiracy, and the Indian government actually blew up the airplane. So not only is this terrorism great, done by the Khalistani movement, and should be lauded, but it's also a conspiracy theory done by the Indian government to undermine the Khalistani movement. This is Schrodinger's terrorism, and it's driving everyone who follows it insane. So domestically, a lot of Canadians, I think, are confused. They don't understand the intricate geopolitical machinations between India. Most of them, this is the first time they're hearing of the Khalistani movement. And the other thing in Trudeau's Canada is the scandal shifts so quickly with the next massive geopolitical screw up. We're already on the fact that he's invited a literal SS Nazi into Parliament, gave them a standing ovation, then denied it responsibility, claiming it was Russian disinformation. Then they just said, let's just strike that one from the record. Everyone forget about it. Then that's what they tried on Yom Kippur, the Jewish holiday when, Jews wouldn't be on the internet. Then the Jews came back onto the internet, very unhappy, and now they have to get rid of the speaker. So this is the new scandal. It's just a cascading set of geopolitical failures in Canada, and now we're on to the fact that Poland's mad at us because we gave them a progressive lecturing the last time Trudeau was in Poland. So kind of Canadian media is just trying to keep up with the latest geopolitical Trudeau blunder, and I don't know if this is next level genius to be so incompetent that you've moved the story about your incompetence to the next story about your incompetence, and if he can just keep this going longer and longer. But domestically in Canada, he's getting destroyed in the polls. The Conservatives are now polling ahead of both him and the NDP combined. We've never seen that before. So he's on his last legs politically, and will he try and hold on for dear life at 2025? But yeah, sorry.
Well, in fact, I had a Pentagon official coming in former Pentagon official coming in just a short while back, explaining that perhaps it's the end game for Justin Trudeau. Puneet Sahni, if I can just bring you in right now with regards to this entire hogwash. When it comes to the Khalistani movement, few years back, wanted terrorist Paramjit Singh Pamma and a few others, Gurcharan and all, were exposed by me in an undercover operation. And when I asked him this question, what exactly is Khalistan for you? You know, he was fumbling till the very time that he was essentially talking about that how the support was coming in from countries like Pakistan and even for that matter China. That was an undercover operation which is now being quoted by several of the Western media outlets. We were the first few years back to really expose those who were basically carrying out drug trafficking, a narcotics business which is basically going on, and of course the gang that have been operating out of United Kingdom, US as well as Canada. We exposed this years back. So it has got nothing to do with what Gurpatwan Singh Pannu has been talking about, or for various others, those who have been associated with this so-called movement which we had exposed long back, that they are not talking about the welfare of Sikhs. They are only talking about their self-interest, their self-goal, and perhaps their business interest, if I may say so, Puneet.
Right. So thank you. So since everybody is agreeing, I'll give a different perspective that people would agree. But I think we are focusing on Trudeau, and Trudeau, of course, deserves all the condemnation and derision and more. But the thing, I think the problem is actually much more fundamental. Like, Canadian people just don't have the stomach, and the Canadian as a state just does not have the tools to actually deal with terrorism. So now, for example, what we are dealing with is like 40 years after, Parmar or something. I'll give you an example. When in 1985, they blew up the plane, right? So who is the guy, Bagdi and Parmar? Few months after, and in Hamilton, so if you do the Hamilton plan, you'll get it. What they were trying to do is like kidnap a child of a member of parliament and say, you have to give us access to the parliament, otherwise, we will kill your little child. And then you get the access, and then you blow up the Indian parliament. This was not some credible evidence. This was clinching evidence that these people, this very same people, they wanted to do it. And what happened? There was some technicality in like filing, in the wiretap, and they say the entire case goes away. This when happened, this was very, very recent. It was months behind when such a biggest tragedy in Canadian history had happened. So they just don't have the tools. It's a complete joke. So I tell you, when Air India bombing happened, everybody knew Parmar had done it. So he was arrested for a few months. There was a letter sent to the Canadian Prime Minister. His name was Brian Mulroney. Again, it's part of the Air India bombing trial record. In that letter, they say Mulroney doesn't release this guy. We are going to kill Mulroney, and we are going to bomb the Canadian subway, this metros. So these people are so emboldened, and they were doing it at the time when the world's attention was on them. So what does he's talking about? This was clinching evidence, but they just don't. And it's not just Trudeau, of course, is compromised. So there are two levels. One is how much your state is capable, and the second is of course the leader at the top. So you send the best economist, you send Jagdish Bhagwati to Pakistan. What can he do with Pakistan economy? Because the state is so corroded. It's the same with Canada. This Khalistanis, what they were doing in 85, they are much, much more emboldened, and they have completely infiltrated the Canadian system. So any person who even wants to fight, what can he do? Because, even if you're a prime minister, if you go for, in your riding, which is basically an assembly seat, to give a speech, maybe 300 people would come. Khalistanis can get 3,000 people for terrorists. So, the politicians work by their own incentives. So
okay,
for the
Puneet,
Indian government to understand
you have an interesting take, but Puneet.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, go ahead. Make your point. Make your point.
No, I just think the Indian government is we are going about Trudeau and everything. We just have to see what is in our control. So our control is basically inflict cost on this inimical actions towards India, and we should ban the WSO, which is basically infiltrating and forcing all these parliamentarians to support terrorism and stuff like that. So all these WSO members, they are basically like Khalistanis and they are supporting terrorism. The Indian government should act on that. We should only see what is in our control rather than expecting Canada to suddenly get strength and sanity.
Okay. Puneet, you have an interesting take. In fact, the Indian government, sources within the government have already indicated that there is a action plan that's rolling in right now, but we'll have to wait and watch as to how things go ahead. But let's also, perhaps put the spotlight on the role of United States of America. And Dr. Joseph, I want you to come in. We've had the US ambassador to Canada essentially saying that Canada has acted on the US intel. Thereafter, we see some sort of a balancing act that has essentially been done, because many would say that, look here, what exactly is US really trying to achieve by doing this? Because many would say this spying, of course, even India would be spying, that is a given. But the fact of the matter is that, is there a fine balancing act that the United States of America is trying to do? As many would say, on the one hand, you have the new best friend. On the other, you have an old ally, which has basically stood the test of time, starting from the World War. So how exactly is the United States of America taking this?
I see two issues here. Number one is that we have a weakened administration in the United States. President Biden's popularity has been the lowest ever since. And if there is a rematch between Biden and Trump, the polls are showing that Trump will win the majority now. So especially the elections are coming in a year. There's a strong, Republican base, which is fighting against Trump. With Biden, and his age is also affecting, his popularity here. Number two, Canada, on that same token, have a very unpopular president, and who is trying to, again, as I said, I was selected as one of those delegation members. My company was supposed to come in with the Canadian Trade Minister of it, and to come to Canada on the 8th of this next month. But I believe this outrage in the parliament and the discussion during G20 might have been pre-planned. Because usually trade delegation appointments get scheduled weeks and months in advance. This time, there was a slow walking of the appointments, even though the schedule was set to arrive on the 8th and depart on the 14th, but the exact meetings and the details of the hotels and the flights, we were giving a slow walk coming in. So it could have been pre-planned. The rationale might be that, again, Prime Minister Trudeau, is unpopular, but again, it's not just the minority votes which support him. I don't think it is the Sikh votes which support the Democratic Party. There might be money involvement. So there's also, as you might know, that many of the population in this movement are basic truck drivers who work in Canada, work for the automotive factories in Canada. They travel a long distance between Mexico and Canada, supplying auto parts and then taking finished goods back to US. And the rumor is that there might be more things coming than just auto parts in those trucks. So whatever that might be. So my point is there are multiple victims in this. In this one prime minister preaching that who is a victim, or who's actually announcing the culprit, announcing the victim, or who killed the person before investigation started. So he was just basically prejudging the investigation, handcuffing the police, which he's currently doing. Right. They don't have any credible evidence. They don't have anyone in arrest. But you're telling the court of law, the prime minister himself is saying, oh, he is guilty. So again, it just doesn't make sense. As I said, the victims are the business community. We were planning to come to India, sign up agreements with Indian corporations to export Canadian products, build up Canadian, jobs in Canada, and right. to expand our technology, export our technology. And the second victim is, I believe, the larger, the Sikh community, which are, I would say, 99.99% are very patriotic, India-loving people. And this 5,000 people out of the millions are causing this havoc. All I suggest is that based on what the Muslim community did, because the silent majority in the Islamic community kept quiet when the extremists started acting up, decades ago. Let's not that happen. I would highly urge the Sikh community, because it's your name which is being tarnished by these Khalistani terrorists.
Right.
Please don't be silent and defend your faith and your patriotism.
Okay. Well, in fact, I just want a quick word also from Sushant. Sushant, there is a pattern. And then the argument that comes in, that is it time to perhaps reset our relation with Canada? Because look at the pattern that I'm talking about. In terms of the investigation with regards to Kanishk bombing, we've seen what has really happened. In terms of criminals who have been given a safe haven, over 60 extradition requests are still pending with Canada. Some are now almost arguing that what would Canada essentially do if we were to allow a Quebec online referendum to take place here in the national capital? So the question here is that time to perhaps reset?
No, look, some of the rhetoric going on in India is, I think, mindless. The Canadians themselves allowed a referendum in Quebec for whatever that was worth. Maybe they rigged it. I don't know. That's a credible allegation I'm making. I think credible allegation is Justin Trudeau's abiding contribution to international relations now. But, and look, I think what really needs to be reset is how Canada is functioning and what all Canada tolerates. That's what needs to be reset. Indian-Canadian relations, look, we are not enemy countries. We are not hostile to each other. Canadians are not bad people. Most Canadians are the most decent people you'll meet among all Westerners, right? They're polite, they're decent, they're welcoming, they're good guys. And then they have Trudeau's, right? No, that's unfortunate for Canada. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate for India-Canada relations. So yes, for the foreseeable future, as long as this guy is in charge and he's destroying Canada, I think relations will not be anything to write home about. I think virtually they are dead. There'll be the normal diplomatic stuff which will go on, but I don't think there's anything else which is going to move forward. Perhaps the day this guy is replaced, you get a more sensible leadership out there, a more sensible leadership that then tries to, revive the relationship with India and take it forward. And there's no reason why India-Canada relations should not be the best of all our relations. Partly for reasons of diaspora and partly for reasons that we have so much that we can do together. And at the same time, I think what is desperately needed in Canada is that, some of the kind of wokeness which has come into Canadian politics, politeness does not mean wokeness, right? Politeness is politeness. You can be polite and not be woke. You can be decent and still be very firm on what you claim is rule of law. Unfortunately, we don't see rule of law being applied the way it should be applied in Canada. If Canada resets and fixes that, I think Canada will solve its own problems and Canada will solve most of the problems they're having with India.
Can I add to that?
Okay. I'll just quickly go to Terry Milescu and Ambassador Sajjana Rao. So Terry Milescu, first to you. You've already heard Sushant Sareen essentially talking about the fact that perhaps right now it appears to be dead. Things could actually change once Justin Trudeau is out of office. But it's important for us to understand that this is a long-standing ally that you're talking about, and India is going to be very important as far as the Indo-Pacific region is concerned. Do you believe that within the Canadian administration there are people who understand the importance of it, and that is the reason why it is important to salvage the situation?
I do know that there are people who are prepared to do a serious reset that would satisfy some, at least, of the Indians' concerns, although they're not yet in what you call the administration. There are people in the Conservative Party, I know, who get it and might very well take a different approach, for example, to Indian complaints, which Canada has traditionally sloughed off. Well, that doesn't amount to terrorism. Oh, that's free speech. And sometimes Canada looks the other way when that speech, as I described earlier, goes far beyond just having a nice peaceful vote, for example, which is very hard to object to, which no Western democracy would stamp out. It wouldn't work. And when it goes beyond that into the realm of fomenting violence, basically inciting violence by glorifying terrorism in a way which, by the way, is illegal in most European countries. Britain changed its law, for example, in 2006 to make the glorification of terrorism a criminal offense. Canada has had a recommendation from a parliamentary committee to do exactly that, which would address Indian concerns, I believe, on that score. They had a recommendation in 2015. Here we are, 8 years later, we've done nothing. We have not changed the law so that we could go after people who are going beyond that line of what we might agree would be freedom of speech, even if we don't like it, and into the realm of inciting violence. So Canada could, just that one item would address Indian concerns a great deal, and there are people who are ready to do it, but they're not in power, not yet. But Trudeau, as you know, is on very thin ice politically. The polls are just terrible. If there were an election tomorrow, he'd be finished.
Right. Okay, Ambassador Sajjana, I'm just running short of time, so I'll just give you the last word. Did we actually give the long rope to especially countries like Canada, US and UK when it comes to dealing with this violent extremism of the Khalistanis? Or would you say that right now we're reacting way too much and it isn't necessary?
No, the two questions you asked, and I think both of them are very important. I don't think we have been going easy on the issue of terrorism as far as the Khalistani elements are concerned in these countries. We have given umpteen number of dossiers to Canada, definitely against these people who have committed crimes, who have engaged in terrorism in India, who have sort of engaged in hate crimes and so on and so forth. I think it is the administrations and the establishments like Canada which have not taken action against it. The others, we have taken up the issue, whether it is with Australia, with the UK. They have said in categorical terms that they will not allow this to happen. So I don't think we have been, lax on that. And I don't think we have been taking it very strongly or harshly, because frankly, the manner in which this whole thing has erupted is because of Trudeau's statement. It is not because of how we are responding. It is what Trudeau has said, and we have been forced to react on that, and in terms of the expulsions that have taken place. So I think he himself is to blame. Otherwise, we were taking all this through the legal channels, through the political channels. We've been taking this, sending out dossiers and trying to pressure, trying to reason and persuade the Canadian government that they need to take action against this. They have been taking refuge behind the plea of freedom of speech and freedom of expression, which it clearly is not. Thank you.
Well, just one.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the debate. Professor Nalapad, I'm really sorry I'm running short of time. I assure you that we'll be back with this debate tomorrow, because as many would say that we are still waiting for that credible allegation to turn into some credible evidence. So I'm assuring you, Professor Nalapad, we'll have one more debate on this very matter. But thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on the debate.
We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka.
Well, in fact, we have an exclusive interview with BJP Vice President Jay Panda. In fact, remember, Jay Panda has been a member of various international initiatives, and he has a strong position as far as the India Canada standoff is concerned. In fact, his entire social media post on whether at all India should allow a Quebec online referendum has now gone viral. We caught up with Jay Panda a short while back. Listen in to that exclusive interview. Joining us on this special broadcast is BJP Vice President Jay Panda. As far as the India-Canada relations are concerned, remember, it's on a tailspin. But Jay Panda's position on this entire matter, some would say the sarcastic note that he had taken to on social media, where he essentially spoke about that India must be considering facilitating an online referendum on the Quebec independence, has gone viral. Many are asking this question from a veteran like Jay Panda, who's been part of several international initiatives. In fact, he's also the chairman of the India-US Forum of Parliamentarians. Jay Panda, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. Let me straight away dive in with that sarcastic social media post that you had put out, where you essentially indicated that why not, as a gesture of friendship, we should have something like called the Quebec online referendum. And that has gone viral since then. Jay Panda was going through several media reports. So what made you write that, first of all?
Well, that sarcasm is rooted in a bitter truth and also in realpolitik. You see, friendly countries and civilized countries should not cross certain limits. But what Canada has been doing is quite bizarre, actually. I mean, on the one hand, of course, they've had a long track record of sheltering several terrorists, including Khalistani terrorists who blew up Air India Kanishka 4 decades ago, which killed Canadians, it killed Indians. They've allowed interference on their soil by other countries, such as the murder of Karima Baloch, the Balochistan activist whom ISI had threatened and then eliminated on Canadian soil. And they have been allowing these Khalistani extremists and terrorists on Canadian soil to put up hoardings asking for the murder of Indian diplomats and threatening Indian diaspora members who don't subscribe to their views. They have been indulging in violence. They have been planning and executing terror operations in India. And finally, they have been holding these ragtag referendums in Canada about a creation of Khalistan. Now, as I said, friendly and civilized countries don't allow that. But if that is their notion of friendship, then we should return the gesture. Canada has several secessionist movements, the most famous of which is Quebec province, which is largely French-speaking and has wanted to secede from Canada for a long time. They've had referendums in the past, but recently they are not allowing referendums because the sentiment is growing for Quebec independence. This was reported in the media earlier this year, for example, by the well-known platform Politico, which says that more and more Quebecians are interested in splitting away. So since they are not allowing a referendum nowadays, but they're allowing a referendum for Khalistan, I thought India should help them out. There are people here with technical capabilities who can organize a referendum for Quebec so that we, treat Canada with the same friendship that it treats us. And also, there are elected representatives in Canada, such as the Parti Québécois leader, Paul Plamondon, who has been going around the world, especially meeting European leaders, explaining his case for Quebec's independence. We should also understand their case. I would welcome somebody like him to come to India, meet with us and explain to us their argument for Quebec's independence. This is just, the same kind of reciprocity that Canada is showing towards us.
Jay Panda, I want to just perhaps look at our position with Canada and their response to all this while. 1948, Canadian position on Indian plebiscite. Then, of course, the investigation that was carried out with regards to Kanishka. Very interestingly, this was written in a book called Cowboys by D. Raman, where largely it was spoken about how there was, despite intelligence input given to Canada, there was nothing that was essentially done. And now, of course, what we see with regards to how Khalistani extremists as well as terrorists have been given a free run. The question that I want to ask you is this. 2018, after that disastrous trip to India, we were very taken aback, surprised rather, when there was that joint framework came up in which there was a clear mention of Babbar Khalsa as well as the International Sikh Youth Federation, and many thought that things have changed. Perhaps Canada is reciprocating, perhaps Justin Trudeau is not following the footprint left by his father. How do you really look at this sudden, perhaps, pandering to the needs of these extremists by Justin Trudeau?
From what I have been reading in the Canadian and international media, Mr. Trudeau is trailing significantly in the polls. And within Canada, the discourse is that this is his desperate attempt to muddy the waters and also to try to retain the support of the Khalistani supporters who have been backing him, but now are maybe not looking to stay with a losing horse. But in the process, he has not only compromised Canada's friendship with India. I mean, look, India is the 5th largest economy in the world now, fastest growing, soon to be the 3rd largest. We have transformed and we are now giving aid to hundreds of countries with vaccines. We are giving aid to dozens of countries with financial aid. Every country in the world, even those who are not happy at our success, wants to have a trade relationship with us, wants to have better understanding with us. But what Prime Minister Trudeau is doing seems to be for narrow political gains for himself and his party. Certainly doesn't seem to be in the interest of Canada, because you see Canadian leaders, opposition leaders are questioning him, questioning as to where is the evidence. There isn't any evidence, and India has rebutted his allegations very strongly. They're also questioning why he has been defending people who are on a no-fly list, who are on an Interpol list. Why has Canada been shielding such people? Then he's made a laughing stock of the nation's parliament by inviting a Nazi, an actual Nazi, and giving him a standing ovation for which he had to apologize. I think in that same spirit, he should also apologize for sheltering these Canadian terrorists, Khalistani terrorists based in Canada, who are going around shooting AK-47s, who are going to Pakistan and getting training from ISI. And this is being done via Canada. So, I mean, he has isolated himself in the eyes of the world, not getting support from even his G7 countries, except for pro forma statements. It's a pretty sad situation that he's put his country into.
Jay Panda, I want to also ask you with regards to role of the United States of America. Several statements have been made, in particular the US ambassador to Canada, who made a mention of the fact that Canada was responding to the intel provided by the United States of America. We're talking about one of United States of America's oldest ally, and some would say US's new best friend, that's India, and the position that it finds itself now. You've been part of several international initiatives, particularly based out of the United States of America. How do you really view this entire matter with regards to US's fine balancing act that they would like to do right now?
Look, from what it seems to be the case, the intel sharing is a routine process, but these claims are being ridiculed and made fun of because even top Canadian political leaders are pressing him for the evidence, and he is not giving any evidence. In fact, it seems like the Canadian side is wanting the Indian side to come up with evidence and asking for cooperation. Now, this is bizarre. By any standard of jurisprudence, the one making the allegation has to provide the evidence, not point fingers and then ask the other side to discover the evidence. That's a little bizarre. But I wish that, the US statement is, of course, a pro forma statement for a fellow G7 member. Even though Canada may no longer really deserve to be on G7, it's not one of the biggest countries in the world. But the point is this. I wish the US made the same kind of statements about Canada harboring known terrorists, Canada shielding people who are on Interpol list. I wish the US ambassador to Canada, the US ambassador to India, the US State Department would make comments about this as well.
Jay Panda, with regards to our relation with Canada, It is of grave concern, keeping in mind people of our country, especially the students. Large number of students prefer Canada as a destination. In fact, it happens to be the second most preferred destination. With the current situation, what is it that the government is essentially looking at right now? The message that they want to send across, because we've seen the kind of messages coming in from families there in Canada and also from here. There is a growing nervousness within the diaspora too. How exactly would the government try to arrest that?
Look, India has the world's largest diaspora, and in many parts of the world, there have been challenges, like you saw in Ukraine, you have seen in the Middle East. And under the Modi government, India has carried out the most massive efforts to reassure our diaspora and, in fact, evacuate them when necessary. Now, with Canada, we have a problem because the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister of India, their first priority has to be the safety and security of India, the safety and security of Indians, both within India and living abroad in the diaspora. And the reality is that Canada is not providing that safety. You have seen real incidents of violence. You have seen terror acts being planned, terror acts in India being planned in Canada and being executed by those from Canada with ISI support and guidance and training. Now, this is a very serious matter. Now, we have a large diaspora in Canada, indeed, but we have a higher priority of taking care of the country's national security. Now, these concerns that have been raised, travel advisories, and the restrictions that have been put into place are all very, very reasonable, considering the threats that we are facing, considering the very clear evidence of the kind of shelter that Canada is giving to these terrorists. Even today, you can see how they are behaving outside the Indian mission and tearing up the Indian flag. We have to be very, very careful about the violence that could flow from this. So the Indian students in Canada have many alternatives. They could go to other countries like the US or Australia or Singapore, which are friendly to India, have equally or better education facilities. And in fact, there are many, many new world-class education facilities coming up in India itself. So I think we will have to take care of national interest, and in the process, whatever threats there are to our students in Canada and diaspora in Canada, that will be addressed.
One quick question, Jay Panda, I want to take with you before I let you go. This is with regards to the provocation that we've essentially seen from the Canadian side, from perhaps making an Indian diplomat's name public to the very fact that you have diplomats whose pictures have been put out in public, death threats have been issued. Little has been done so far with regards to multiple extradition requests that have been sent out. I'm being told that over 60 extradition requests to Canada is still pending. Do you believe that perhaps now India would reset the way it basically looks at foreign policy with Canada?
Look, I hope we don't have to, because we have traditionally seen Canada as a friendly country, a democracy, with same shared values, but clearly not, because we certainly don't harbor terrorists. We certainly don't give shelter to people who are wanted on Interpol. You know, this not acceding to extradition requirements or requests from India, it reminds me of Pakistan. Remember, for now nearly 3 decades, India has been asking for the extradition of people like Dawood Ibrahim and others from Pakistan. And Pakistan blatantly continues to shelter them and pander to those terrorists and, in fact, support cross-border terrorism. Now, Canada seems to be heading in that same direction, which means their democracy seems to have been compromised because of narrow political considerations of some of these parties being dependent on terrorists who are, you've seen videos, you're showing it on your channel about people who are terrorists going around with AK-47s in Canada, and the government of the day is sheltering them. But look, ultimately, India has to do what is correct for our own self-defense, for our own self-interest, for our own national interest. And if Canada persists in emulating Pakistan, then, you see what Pakistan has done to itself. If Canada emulates them, they will sooner or later end up in that same state of affairs.
Well, thank you very much, Jay Panda. It's always a pleasure to have you on Republic TV.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research at Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.
3, 2, 1. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada to the people of Karnataka. We are now called as Republic Kannada here in Karnataka.
Republic Kannada has officially launched.
So today we dedicate Republic Kannada.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand.
Nor must we countenance that political convenience determines responses to terrorism, extremism, and violence. Similarly, respect for territorial integrity and non-interference in internal affairs cannot be exercises in cherry-picking.
Amity University is proud to present the Faculty Research Awards by Careers 360, acknowledging India's brightest minds in the field of academic research at Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, New Delhi on the 6th of October as part of Amity's commitment to further research and innovation in our country.